Your environment shapes who you are and, who you're becoming. Huntington was such a unique town, and it's such a rough town. I mean, it was an oil town, so you had like oil workers, you had surfers, and you had bikers. So many roughneck dudes, and there was drug dealing, and even though I didn't really know about it, back then because you're so young, but it kind of fit the scene of the kind of characters that you would see.
I moved to Huntington Beach with my mom, I think in 7th grade, just downtown, like 3 blocks from the beach, so it was awesome. That's where I met Casey, my business partner, and a longtime friend.
My grandparents owned Zach's and Zach's 2, which are the concession stands on the beach that sell the burgers and the strips and rent the boogie boards, and I basically grew up with the biggest sandbox on the block.
I thought this was the center of the surf universe, and basically it was back then.
Each shop had their team, and every shop had the most uniquely trashed individuals.
It was insane to grow up in HB in the 80s.
There was nothing like those days. Zig's a workhorse, he's a super creative guy.
When Bob started Hurley, I went with him. And then I worked at Hurley as one of the main designers. Leanne Murray, who was the head designer of Hurley, started a clothing company called Aqua 6. Me and her, she brought me on as a partner.
We started Royale. We had a good run, partnered up with a good friend of mine, Jeff Long, who was our financial backer. Sadly, though, he OD'd on fentanyl patches. And this is the thing about drugs. You never know when that drug is going to be the drug that's the one that fucking hooks you. I think about Zig and us when we were younger. There was nothing someone could have told us to deter us from what we did. We started going to raves, and the rave scene in LA was dope.
Slowly, those weekends ran into weekdays.
Being reckless is fun. To me, that was just as addictive as the drugs.
As I got older, I graduated into harder drugs, I guess, per se. Like, I started doing cocaine, ecstasy.
You go to Truth back in the day, at Park Plaza, on a hit of X, at 19 years old, and you got a hip-hop room, you got a house room, and you got gangsters from LA, and you got people from Orange County, and you got the LA cool scene. Dude, I'm getting chills thinking about it. That's just intoxicating. That's when I became super reckless. That's when I started, freebasing. I started selling weed. This is back in, maybe the end of the cowboy days.
I was pulling everything off. I was still succeeding at work, still succeeding in relationships.
It was fucking out of control. Like, it was next level. Like, next level drug addiction. I had a $300 a day habit. I was doing 10 to 15, 80 milligrams a day.
That whole epidemic with the opiates and all that, like, that's just bad.
Opiates is a fucking motherfucker to get off of.
I made it work. I made it work until I didn't make it work, and it caught up to me, like it always does.
It's nothing but survival. How many pills do I have? What do I got to do to get more pills? And that's it, period.
I finally got my 3rd DUI, and I was looking at jail time, and I was running out of money. My business was going bankrupt. I lost my house. I'm tired, dude. I'm exhausted. It's that full-time job getting high, and I couldn't keep up with it, and finally I just surrendered, and it was just the best thing I ever did.
I was arrested by the DEA and for distribution of marijuana. The judge was going to sentence me to 5 years. He said, I'm going to test you in the courtroom next week, and if you come up dirty, I'm sending you away for 5 years. I'll never think about you again. And they tested me in the courtroom. He's like, yeah, you're good. And my knees just buckled. had a by myself, meeting face to face in the mirror in the federal courthouse up in LA, and I was just like, dude, you really took this to the fucking bitter end.
You gotta pick up the wreckage that you've done to other people. You gotta pick up the wreckage you've done to your own life. You gotta pick up the emotional wreckage. I wouldn't change anything in the past because it's made me who I am today, and I'm really proud of who I am. Just our past makes us who we are. I have a lot of respect for people that have been through fucking hell and back and have rebuilt their shit and they're just back. Like, everybody loves a comeback story.
Didn't have my license at the time because of my DUIs, so I rode my fixie to Costa Mesa to our buddy Joe McElroy, who was doing Get a Juice magazine at that time. And I was just gonna have him help me put together a business card. And like, we're sitting there like putting it together, and we both kind of looked at each other, and he's just like, dude, this would be a really cool little clothing brand. And then I was just like, fuck it, let's just hop back into it. Surfing is the sport of kings, surfing is the fountain of youth. Sport of Kings, forever young.
Casey approached me with Sport of Kings, and then been doing this ever since.
It really all came about from our sobriety. I love looking at like Chanel and Gucci and all these, all the high-end brands, and just to see the simplicity of like a Chanel ad, and just be like, dude, like, this is like a dope photo and Chanel. That's it. No bells and whistles, just pure, perfection, really.
He's into fashion, I'm into fashion. We both are into surf, and just, I don't know, the stars aligned.
It's my passion. Like, I just love fashion. I love marketing.
We bounce ideas off of each other. We get a lot of creativity off of each other. Drawing from our history and from like all our experiences in life, we put it out into the clothes.
Our whole vision on this is really just to do an elevated surf brand that speaks quality and not quantity.
It's the most real and authentic company that I've ever been involved in. And it's just, I don't know, it's just us. I know I got one more beautiful thing in me, like creatively, and this is it. It's Sport of Kings. It's more about making some cool shit, dude, that people, like, it makes them feel good.
When you do stuff for people unconditionally, that's happiness.
We want to make the world a more beautiful place. And our way of doing that is by making people look good.